Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov arrived in Alaska for Friday's high-stakes summit between President Trump and Putin, with a not-so-subtle message emblazoned across his sweatshirt. Lavrov's gray shirt boldly spelled CCCP, which are the Russian letters for USSR, and which was clearly meant to troll Ukraine, and anyone else expecting Russia to back off of their long-term goals of reassembling the communist state. When asked by a reporter about how certain he was that the talks would lead to a resolution of his country's war on Ukraine, Lavrov didn't come across as particularly optimistic on the topic.
Никогда не загадываем ничего наперед. Мы знаем, что у нас есть аргументы, у нас есть позиция понятная, четкая. Мы будем ее излагать.
Ukraine was part of the USSR until the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991. As a result of the breakup, 15 separate independent countries were formed, including Russia and Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin has made no secret that he wants the rest of the countries back under Russian control, and has even called the collapse of the Soviet Union the greatest geopolitical disaster of the century. He made the first step towards achieving his dream of reforming the Soviet Union with his invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Though many world leaders doubted Putin would actually follow through on the attack, nearly 3.5 bloody years later, his determination is plainly clear for all to see. Further ominous symbolism was on display before the summit during a special flight from Moscow to Anchorage, where Russian journalists were served Chicken Kiev. Chief Putin propagandist and RT editor-in-chief Margarita Simonian posted to social media. It was unclear if the choice of meal, which is standard fare on Russian airlines because it can be easily frozen and reheated, was intentional. At Russia's request, Ukrainian officials were not invited to Friday's summit at the joint base Elmendorf-Richardson, which is northeast of downtown Anchorage, something Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky wasn't too happy about. But Trump assured Zelensky on a Wednesday call that his main goal for Friday's meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin is to push for a ceasefire. Still, he was not very optimistic the dictator will budge, a U.S. source familiar with the discussion told the Post. If Putin does not agree to a ceasefire, then Trump is likely to hit Russia with sanctions, the source said. Hours earlier, Zelensky told reporters in Berlin that he, Trump, and other European leaders demonstrated one voice, one desire, and one principle ahead of the U.S.-Russia summit in Anchorage, Alaska. There should be a ceasefire. There should be security guarantees. President Trump said he supports this and spoke about America's readiness to take part, the 47-year-old said in laying out his position. Notably, the American president promised the European leaders that he would not discuss the status of Ukrainian territory with Putin, with the source confirming it was ultimately up to Ukraine to decide if and what territorial concessions to make. And obviously no one expects Zelensky to sport a Soviet shirt anytime soon.